And now it is my pleasure to turn it over to introduce the speaker, our Executive Vice President, Allison Stevens.
Thank you, Larry, and welcome everyone. It's lovely to have you here. Good morning. It's still morning. How's everyone? Yay. All right, well, it's my great pleasure to introduce our special speaker today. He is Director General, I'm going to get it exactly right, Vincent Yao.
Yes.
And he is here representing Taiwan, where he is the effectively consular officer for a very large area, including the Western United States. So this includes, back on the other page, go on. I remember Alaska and Wyoming. What's that? Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and the state of Alaska. Whoosh. So since 1979, Taiwan entered a relationship with the People's Republic of China with formal diplomatic relations, and at that point, the relationship with the United States changed. So at this time, we have economic and cultural offices which serve the purpose of connecting us culturally and in economic ways between the countries. The U.S. Department of State's current Taiwan fact sheet states that the United States and Taiwan enjoy a robust, unofficial relationship. Here to help us understand that relationship is Vincent Yao, Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Seattle. He leads his office to broaden and deepen Taiwan's diversified relationships with all of these U.S. Northwest states, as well as Alaska. His office is also responsible for consular affairs and taking care of the Taiwanese communities in these 6 states. Prior to his current post, Mr. Yao was Deputy Director General of the Department of North American Affairs of the Foreign Ministry of the Republic of China. He has been a Foreign Service officer since 1993 and has extensive experience in Taiwan-U.S. relations, including in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Taiwan's National Security Council, and Taiwan's Economic and Cultural Representative Office in Washington, D.C. For more information about Director Yao, please go to the GAC website at shoreline.edu/GAC. With no further ado, I'm going to have Larry give you a few technicalities, and we will move into the presentation.
And now, please join me in welcoming Director General Yao.
Executive Vice President Stevens, Director of Well, faculties and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great honor and pleasure for me to be able to be invited to speak to such an outstanding audience. And first of all, I want to still wish you Happy New Year, the Happy Year of the Rooster, because before the Lantern Festival still count as a new year in the lunar calendar. And as you all know that a couple of months ago, the then President-elect Trump took a congratulatory phone call from Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen and stirred up a great deal of debates in the mainstream news. So all of a sudden, Taiwan has become a center of the headlines. However, these unintended media exposure was not exactly what I expected, because most of the media reports were talking about how Mr. Trump might have damaged the U.S.-China relations and how little he understands the nuance of international relations. And very, very few news articles were talking about why the United States maintains such a relationship with Taiwan. So I think it's very timely for me to talk about this topic. It is almost impossible not to mention these important historic documents when we are talking about U.S.-Taiwan relations. And first of all, I want to say that the United States One China policy is different from the so-called One China principle asserted by People's Republic of China. The U.S. One China policy is based on the 3 joint communiques and Taiwan Relations Act and the 6 assurances. Of course, among all these documents, the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act obviously is the most important piece for continuing the relationship between the United States and Taiwan. And the One China policy has been adopted by 8 consecutive U.S. administrations since Nixon administration. And I believe that the Trump administration will continue to follow that policy. This is a major point of the TRA. I'm not going to talk about all that. But what is important is that, in 1979, many people in the United States and in Taiwan believe that Taiwan is finished. Sooner or later, it's going to vanish. But with the TRA, and thanks to those very wise and strong supporters of members of the U.S. Congress at that time, such as Senator Barry Goldwater, Senator Bob Dole, the Taiwan Relations Act was strengthened into a U.S. domestic law that protect Taiwan's interests. So with the TRA, Taiwan still exists. And not only Taiwan exists, it also developed into a full-fledged democracy and a free and mighty economy. So the rare case in United States foreign policy is its relationship with Taiwan. As the Vice President mentioned on the outset, United States continue this unofficial relationship with Taiwan. But United States has this security partnership with an entity, a country, whatever you like to call Taiwan, with which it does not have diplomatic relationship. And moreover, it has pledged to help defend Taiwan against the government that it does have relationship. So this is a very rare case in the U.S. Diplomacy. But today, I'm not going to talk about how Taiwan wants the United States to precede us. But instead, I want to talk about how the United States sees Taiwan. Okay. Taiwan is considered as a partner, deserves dignity and respect. President Obama said in front of China's President Xi Jinping when he visited China in 2014 in the joint press conference that he's going to reaffirm the U.S. One China policy, and he encourages both sides to continue building ties, reducing tensions, and promoting stability on the basis of dignity and respect. This is the first time for a U.S. president to talk about the dignity and respect for Taiwan in public. And Taiwan is a security and economic partner. 2 consecutive former secretaries of state, Hillary Clinton and John Kerry, both said in public that Taiwan is an important security and economic partner. And Taiwan is a vital partner in Asia. This lady is a Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Eastern Asian Affairs, Susan Thornton. She said many times in public that the United States is working to build a comprehensive, durable, and mutually beneficial partnership with Taiwan. And Taiwan is a vital partner for the United States in Asia. And this is the first time a senior U.S. official categorized our bilateral relationship as a comprehensive, durable, and mutually beneficial one. This is very important to Taiwan because for the past 37 years since the enactment of the Taiwan Relations Act, we've been trying to say, we are an important partner of the United States. But this is a U.S. senior official said in public that the goal for the United States is to build such a strong partnership with Taiwan. Okay, and we are a friend with a common interest, and we are also a friend deserve a space in international organizations. In the past 15 years or so, the U.S. Congress passed 3 major bills and signed into law by President Bush and President Obama to support Taiwan's participation in functional international organizations, such as the World Health Organization, ICAO, and Interpol. ICAO refers to International Civil Aviation Organizations. And the most recent ones are in 2013, President Obama signed into law a House Resolution 1151 to further support Taiwan's participation in ICAO. And in 2016, President Obama signed into law S-2426 to support Taiwan's participation in Interpol. And what's most remarkable is that the Secretary Kathleen Sebelius of the Department of Health in 2011 emphasized in public that no organizations of the United Nations has a right to unilaterally determine Taiwan's status. And this is a very important public statement because at that time, China tried to oppose Taiwan's participation in any international organization, citing Resolution 2587, indicating that Taiwan is not a country, and so Taiwan should not participate in international organizations. So we got this strong public statement supported by United States senior officials. It's very important. And Taiwan is a friend, deserves more recognitions. We joined the U.S. visa waiver program in 2012. The VWP has only 38 countries. So it's a very exclusive club. And you have to sign numerous agreements, anti-terrorism, sharing intelligence, sharing information with the United States government, so you get to join the visa waiver program. So this is a recognition of Taiwan's efforts of working closely with the United States on anti-terrorism and other information sharing tasks. And we signed a revised agreement on privilege, exemption, and immunities in 2013. This pretty much followed the Vienna Convention for Diplomacy. So our diplomats in the United States enjoy pretty much the same status as other diplomats from other countries. And we even got the consular place from the State Department. And Taiwan is a friend, deserves a bipartisan support. Taiwan always enjoyed strong bipartisan support from the U.S. Congress. On the House side, the House Congressional Taiwan Caucus has 215 members. It ranked the largest country-based caucus in the House. And on Senate side, Senate Taiwan Caucus has 35 members, ranked the second as a country-based caucus in the Senate, following the India caucus. And over the past 8 years, we have more than 150 members of the United States Congress visit Taiwan, and more than 10 major resolutions or bills supporting Taiwan's participation in international organizations or supporting the strengthening of U.S.-Taiwan relations. This picture shows our new president, immediately after she was inaugurated in May last year, she received a delegation led by a House Foreign Relations Committee at Royce and his delegates, and also another delegation led by the chairman of Senate Arms Sales Committee, John McCain, and other 6 senators. So, ladies and gentlemen, why Taiwan and United States continue this relationship? The TRA, Taiwan Relations Act, only provides a legal basis for the United States to continue this relationship. So, there must be more reasons for the United States to continue this strong partnership with Taiwan. This is exactly the message I want to tell you today. But I want to talk about this partnership from 3 aspects. That's security, economic, and our partnership on the non-traditional security issues, which all contribute to building a comprehensive, durable, and mutually beneficial partnership. Starting from a security partnership, both the Bush and Obama administrations significantly increased the military-to-military exchanges between the U.S. and Taiwan, and to help Taiwan build an innovative and asymmetric warfare capability. Because with the rising of PRC's power, Taiwan is no longer engaged in an arms race with the People's Republic of China. Instead, we need to be smart. We need to develop our innovative and asymmetric warfare capability so that we can defend ourselves. And over the past few years, the United States arms sales to Taiwan has exceeded $20.1 billion US, ranked Taiwan as the top 10 buyers for US weapons. And those include Apache helicopters, Black Hawks helicopters, and Perry-class frigates, Kiss-class destroyers, and retrofit packages for Taiwan's 150 F-16 AB fighters. Other than that, the military personnel exchange has been increasing significantly. I personally visited PACOM several times. PACOM means Pacific Command, located in Hawaii. We met with the commander of PACOM, and we have various levels of dialogues between the 2 militaries. I can say that one former senior U.S. official said this in public, that the U.S.-Taiwan security ties are sometimes stronger than that of the U.S. ties with its diplomatic allies. I think that is true. And economic partnership. This is the figures from 2015. Taiwan is United States' 9th largest trading partner. Taiwan has only 23 million people, with the size of the state of Maryland. But we are the 9th largest trading partner of the United States. The 8 countries that are ahead of Taiwan are Canada, Mexico, Germany, France, UK, China, Japan, Korea. That's all. India, Brazil, Russia are all behind Taiwan as a trading partner of the United States. So this is quite a remarkable achievement. And the United States is Taiwan's 2nd largest trading partner, following mainland China. And Taiwan is also the United States' 7th largest export market for agricultural products. On a per capita basis, we are the 2nd largest for U.S. agricultural products. And we also invested quite significantly in the United States. We have invested over $25 billion US in the United States and provided over 300 320,000 jobs in the United States. How do we calculate this? This is statistics based on the figures released by the Commerce Department. Every 1 billion that you generated in trade for goods will create 5,000 jobs. And every 1 billion in trade for services will create 7,000 jobs. That's how we calculate this number. And it doesn't mean that we don't have any trade disputes between our two countries. We do. So we have a trade and investment framework agreement. Under the TIFA, we have already conducted 9 rounds of talks, senior level talks, to try to solve the trade disputes between the two countries. And later on, I will touch a little bit on the TPP, because I want to show this is because we try to join the TPP through the second round of negotiation. And under the Obama administration, we were very much welcomed by U.S. senior government officials to join the TPP. However, now we're going to have to talk about a post-TPP relationship. And there's non-traditional security issues. Actually, this part is the most important part that I want to talk about. I want to let you know, because not too many people understand that Taiwan is such a strong partner with the United States on in these fields. And I tend to categorize these cooperation into two different parts. One is global democratization, and second is human security. Human security, global democratization includes capacity building, good governance, women empowerment, and human security has a greater range of issues such as cybersecurity, anti-terrorism, humanitarian assistance, energy security, and so on and so forth. In 2012, we launched the Pacific Islands Leadership Program, the PILP. This program is a 5-year program. And every year, we're going to recruit 25 young and upcoming government officials or experts in the Asia-Pacific island countries. And they will receive trainings in both Hawaii and Taiwan, 2 months in Hawaii and 1 month in Taiwan, to learn the skills for governance and the leadership. It has yielded very positive results in the past 3 years. Now we need to wait a couple more years to see the more concrete results, because we have seen them climbing up in their career ladder, but it needs a couple of more years for them to climb up to the leadership of those countries. But it has been very successful. And in 2014, we launched the International Environmental Partnership Program, and Gina McCarthy, the administrator of US EPA, visited Taiwan to witness this launch of this program and declare that the United States is a proud founding partner of this IEP. Under the IEP, we have organized more than 50 training programs and include experts, government officials from ASEAN countries. Not only ASEAN countries, but some from Latin Americans to Taiwan. Because United States sees Taiwan as an example of, in the field of environmental protecting and also in combating climate change. So they want to use Taiwan's skills and expertise to train the experts and government officials in those countries. On anti-terrorism, Taiwan joined the US-led Global Counter-ISIL Coalition, become one of the 65 members of this coalition. And under this coalition, we have provided tremendous humanitarian assistance to the refugees in Syria, northern Iraq, in Turkey. We provided 350 prefabricated shelters to the refugees in northern Iraq. We also donated a mobile hospital to the refugees in Turkey. We also donated commodities exceeded the value exceeded 10 million US dollars to the refugees in Syria. So our participation in this coalition is more focusing on humanitarian assistance instead of ground battle. These are the prefabricated shelters that I just showed you. So overall speaking, we are also fighting together to fight against epidemic disease such as Ebola, dengue fever, MERS, and so on and so forth. We provided cash donation to US CDC Foundation. I want to mention why we donate the cash to the CDC Foundation, not to the World Health Organization, because the World Health Organization does not accept Taiwan's donation because of political obstacles from the other side. So fortunately, we have friends in the United States, so we can donate the cash to the CDC Foundation so the United States can help us to contribute to the international community. Overall speaking, in the past 37 years, Taiwan and the United States have signed 161 bilateral agreements. And most of these agreements were signed in the past 15 years. So with the rising of China's power, the US-Taiwan relations have not been weakened. Instead, it has been strengthened. It has been strengthened, all because of all the cooperations we have that I just mentioned. And the signing of the MOU to create the Global Cooperation and Training Framework actually is a new page in our bilateral relations. This is the second agreement of such kind that the United States signs with another country. U.S. signed a similar agreement with Singapore called Third Country Training Agreement, and they signed a global GCTF agreement with Taiwan. Under this agreement, we will decide what are the programs we are going to pursue to help third countries to strengthen their capabilities. Since the launch of this program in mid 2015, we have already conducted 4 major training programs in terms of women empowerment, in terms of energy security, in terms of bridging the digital gap in Latin America, and also in terms of fighting epidemic disease. So every year we will have 2 rounds of steering committee meetings with the participation of officials from both the United States and Taiwan, and decide what programs we're going to have. So this is very important for our future relationship. And finally, what's next? How will Trump's Asia policy look like? Today, I'm not going to try to provide any answers to these questions, but I just want to point out some of the future directions and for us to think about. Maybe, after my presentation, we can have some brainstorming together. We don't know exactly what Mr. Trump wants to do in Asia Pacific, but during the campaign and after he was elected, his policy advisors talk about some of the issues. And there are three trends. One is Mr. Trump wants to see a fairer commercial relationship with U.S. major trading partners. I think this is talking about the U.S. relationship with all the major trading partners in general, but with China in particular. Mr. Trump has talked about how unfair the trade relationship with China is, and he's talking about he wants to designate China as a currency manipulator once he's elected. But to the rest of Asia, the biggest impact is his decision on the TPP. Because you know that in Asia, China is dominating another regional economic integration called RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and the other one called FTAAP, Free Trade Agreement of Asia Pacific under APEC. And if the United States excluding itself from these regional economic integration, and in the future, China will have the ability to formulate the rules and the regulations in this region. So does the United States wants to exclude itself from these regional integration? That remains to be seen. But to Taiwan, it is very important for Taiwan to join the multilateral economic integration because of very obvious political obstacles that we are facing right now. It is very difficult politically for Taiwan to negotiate bilateral trade agreement with other countries. And Mr. Trump also wants to see greater burden sharing among allies. Tomorrow, there will be a very important summit between Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Mr. Trump. This summit is not only important to the future U.S.-Japan relations, but also to the future of the Asia-Pacific region. Hopefully, we will see some clues of the goals of Mr. Trump in this region. Especially important is the economic future of the Asia-Pacific. Now we don't have TPP. What United States wants to do economically in this region. We hope we can get some answers after this summit. And China, after Mr. Trump was elected, China's President Xi Jinping immediately called Mr. Trump to offer his congratulations. And he also emphasized that cooperation is very important to the U.S.-China relations. And cooperation is the only path for the future U.S.-China relations. And he also called on Mr. Trump to seek the win-win solutions for the U.S.-China relations, which in a Chinese definition, it could mean that China wins twice. But in any case, Mr. Xi offered a constructive, positive relationship to Mr. Trump. And finally, we don't know whether or not Mr. Trump has a clear idea about the international order in the future of the Asia-Pacific region. He talked about he wants to make America great again, but he also talked about that he wants his U.S. allies to share more burden, and he also tried to downgrade the importance of human rights records in some of the countries. So whether or not he wants to continue to assert or project U.S. values in Asia-Pacific region, that also remains to be seen. For Taiwan, it is very important that we understand that United States and Taiwan share the same values. We are both democracy, we're free countries. it is not only the TRA as a legal basis that enable the United States to continue its relationship with Taiwan. It is the same values that we are sharing to enable the both countries to continue this important partnership. Well, thank you. With that, I'd be happy to take some questions.
Especially for your bravery in trying to grapple with those last points. That was great. So he's agreed now to take a few questions. We have some time before we have to get out, vacate the room. But and I just remind you that if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and I'll bring you this microphone, or Jonathan over on that side will bring another microphone. So, are there any questions?
I had a question about the One China policy. From my perspective, I've been to Taiwan, and no one there, like I said, I had a very disparate perspective going in, but when I went there, no one there really seemed to have the idea that there was one China, that they accepted a Chinese people, but not necessarily that there was one nation state. Is the current, like, it almost feels like don't ask, don't tell, is that sustainable long term? I mean, like it seems like for the past 50 years, it's basically been like, well, let's just not talk about that. And you know, if that works for the next 1,000 years, great. But you know, is it a stable situation going forward?
Thank you for the question. As a matter of fact, in the past 30-some years, I would say that under the authoritarian rules, it was probably a don't tell, you know, don't say policy. But since Taiwan was democratized, it is impossible not to talk about these issues. And we actually talk about this a lot. And we have constant surveys. It shows that 85% of the people in Taiwan believe that we should continue the status quo. Because Taiwan people are very pragmatic. You know, we know that we need to maintain the status quo, because if we do something that would be considered as being provocative or considered as a step towards the de jure independence, we will invite the military conflict. So people in Taiwan are very pragmatic. We want to continue our autonomy, which is the most important to the people of Taiwan, under the circumstances that we don't have a military conflict with the other side. Other questions? Yes.
You said that the U.S. and Taiwan have an unofficial relationship. Could you just explain what that means exactly? Like, why is it unofficial?
Yeah. I didn't say it's unofficial. The vice president said it's unofficial. But according to the U.S. Government officers, they also always try to describe our bilateral relations as unofficial, because they don't want any trouble, you know. But I said this is a rare relationship between our two countries, because when we talk about economic, functional, and people-to-people exchanges, you know, Taiwan-U.S. relations are perfectly normal, right? We are the ninth largest trading partner. We have so much cooperation between our two countries. But when it comes to diplomatic and security relationship, you know, this is where people are thinking this is not so normal, because we don't have diplomatic relations with the United States. So the official U.S. position is try to describe this relationship as unofficial. Other questions? Any questions? Yes.
Thank you. So I want to ask, as United States is the biggest funding and donator to the United Nations, what do you see the possibilities for Taiwan to rejoin the United States nations, and what United States can help to make that become possible?
Maybe I should not speak for the United States government, but the U.S. government's policy is to support Taiwan's participation in international organizations where statehood is not required as a membership, for the membership. But it will help Taiwan to have its voice heard or to participate meaningfully in the international organizations where statehood is not required. So for World Health Organizations, ICAO, these are the functional organizations affiliated to United Nations. So United States policy is to help Taiwan to participate in these UN-related international organizations as an observer so that Taiwan can participate meaningfully. It does not really support Taiwan's participation as a member because according to US government officials, this is not in accordance with the US One China policy. Okay, so is it possible for Taiwan to rejoin United Nations? I don't want to rule out the possibility, but this is probably not a objective for Taiwan to pursue in the near run. You know, we probably can see some possibility many generations after. But right now, we would be very pragmatic in pursuing our international status. You know, we want to join the international organizations right now, not because of political reasons, because Taiwan is capable to contribute to the international community. And without United States help, we are not able to reciprocate all the international aid that we received in the past. Now Taiwan is willing and capable to give back to the international community. So we hope that United States and other like-minded countries can help us do that. Right.
Are there any other further questions?
I have a question. It's about will Taiwan accept a refugee from China, for example, from Tibet or other part of China?
That's a very sensitive question. Well, it depends on how you define the status of the refugee. You know. In the past few years, you know, I work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I work in the National Security Council. The practice is that Taiwan government will help these refugees to seek asylum in other countries. You know. We may or may not keep those refugees in Taiwan. We kept some, but not all. Depends on where they really wanted to go, but we will help them to seek the political asylum. Tibet and Xinjiang are sensitive issues in terms of cross-strait relations. Our government and the Chinese governments have adopted the different policies in different period of times. During those years between year 2000 and 2008, when our former president was considered adopting a more confrontational policies against the PRC, the PRC also had very different policy on the refugee issues, and they fiercely opposed to Dalai Lama's visit to Taiwan, and some of the Uyghur leaders' visit to Taiwan. You know, exiled the Uyghur leaders' visit to Taiwan. But between 2008 and 2016, the policy somewhat changed a little bit. So I don't have a exact answer for you, but I can only say that we will help these refugees to seek a political asylum. Yep. Okay, any other questions?
One more question. Are there any more questions? No? Kind of quite honest. So please join me in giving a round of applause to our speaker. Thank you very much, Director General Yao.